Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with my review of Chucky, the Complete Collection Blu-ray set. Now I'm going to be talking in great detail on the Curse of Chucky, the brand new Child's Play film. Now of course that is available in the complete set. When I talk about it, I'm going to be holding up the standalone version. Now this is, both of these, the set and the brand new movie. I've never gotten so many messages, from people asking me if I was going to review the set and if I've seen the new film. I was really excited about these as well. To me, when it comes to the horror movie characters that you always think of, Chucky, Jason, Freddy Krueger. To me, Chucky was always my favorite. As a kid, I always remember going to the fair and winning the Child's Play doll. And to me, I just absolutely love these films. And the first three of them were very, very creepy films. They had some comedic elements. They were kind of like when you look at the original Nightmare on Elm Street films, the early ones. They started out very kind of serious, but Freddy Krueger would say some kind of comedic things. And then with the later ones, as they went along, they became more comedic and way more of a kind of comedy, over-the-top horror. The same goes for these films. The first three Chucky films were way more of a serious kind of stuff, and then he would say some kind of funny things every here and there. But then when it got to Bride of Chucky, it became a lot more comedic, a lot more stuff of the doll kind of talking and things like that, and especially with Seed of Chucky, which to me was my least favorite. It was way more just a comedy. The best thing in, Seed of Chucky was the John Waters cameo. I thought he was really funny in it. But that's the one I watched the least. My personal favorites, though, are the first four and now the brand new one. But I'm going to talk about that one after this set. And at the end of this video, do a quick little video, too, showing inside of this set as well. Now, if you haven't seen the Child's Play films, they're basically about this serial killer, Charles Lee Ray. Hopefully I'm saying all the names right. Charles Lee Ray, who has killed all these people and ends up being chased into a toy store by the cops and ends up getting shot. As he's dying, he ends up doing this kind of spell onto the good guy, on a good guy doll. And they're kind of like, this is in the 80s, and it was kind of like around the time when Cabbage Patch Kids were popular and starting to be kind of the thing. And the good guy doll was kind of the thing back then. Everybody wanted them, kind of like they did in, Jingle All the Way with the Turbo Man doll and Tickle Me Elmo, and it's that kind of a thing. Everybody wanted the doll. He ends up, putting the curse on the doll and possessing the doll. The doll ends up going to Andy, and and gets it as a gift. People start dying around him. And the second one is him as well, and people are dying, and they're kind of the cops, it's kind of, everything's unexplainable. They don't know what's going on. They can't figure out who it is. It's kind of pointing to the doll, but it doesn't make any sense to them how it could be a doll. The second one was him, in a foster home with a doll coming after him again. The third film was him in military school. I really do like that one. That's one I think it's kind of a fun one. Every time I think of, military school films, I always think of, Child's Play 3 and Major Ping. They're the first two that I always think of for some reason. And then the third one was Chucky getting brought back by his girlfriend Tiffany, and then Chucky ends up killing Tiffany and putting her body into a doll. The third one was Chucky and Tiffany as dolls, as both of them were, and they have a kid. And that one, dealt with the real Jennifer Tilly, and it was about making a movie. It was a fun one, but like I said, it just was just not as good as the other ones. And the new one, though, is so good. I really loved it. And the thing that's cool about this set is it's the first time that all the films have been available. And of course, Curse of Chucky has just been available now. So this is the first time it's been in a set like this. But up until now, the other sets only were able to have Child's Play, 2 through Seed of Chucky, because the first film was from Warner Brothers, which is now Fox. I believe they're both the same thing. So I believe Universal must have licensed the first one to be able to put it in this set. So it's really cool that they're all available in here. They all look really, really good. I'm going to talk a little bit, too, when I show the box on the features that are on the original, the first 5 films, or the first 6 films. But it's pretty much the same features they were on the old DVDs and the old Child's Play Blu-ray, because that was the only one up until now that was on Blu-ray. Now, I want to talk now about the new film, which was directed by and written by Don Mancione, who wrote, I think it was the first 3 films, and directed Seed of Chucky. I was so impressed with this movie and was so happy with all the directions this movie was going. Just everything about this, the look of this movie. Like I said, this movie plays it 100% serious. There is, a couple kind of funny things that Chucky says in the movie, but the whole vibe of the movie really works as a creepy movie. The house that they, built for the movie is kind of has a real gothic look to it, extremely creepy look, which I really thought added to the movie. They had really good production value. This movie definitely could have been released theatrically. I'm really surprised that it wasn't. I guess just because it didn't really have any huge names, I guess, because I can't figure out why, because it really could have. It really was, I really liked it. The basic idea, though, is it's about a girl in her 20s who's in a wheelchair who lives in the house with her mother, and they end up getting sent the Chucky doll. And, the mother's like, doesn't know who this thing came from. They kind of just put it away and just kind of wondering what it is. And the Chucky doll, as you've seen from the trailers, is brand new looking, and you kind of figure out the reasoning behind everything. The movie really does a good job explaining things. I also want to say, too, the movie is not a bunch of CGI, because a lot of people have been wondering if it went the direction of using a bunch of CG. It's all puppets, it's all animatronic faces, and really advanced. They have a feature on here talking about how they did it, and they put a person in a costume for like the far back shots, mixed of all those kind of things. And this movie too, the doll really moves fluidly, like a real kind of human look to it. They did the best job, I thought, in this one of the doll's movements, because the technology's gotten so much better since the last movie, especially since the first film. But the mother in the house ends up falling off ends up dying, and it ends up being the girl in the wheelchair just there herself. The girl is played by Brad Dourif's actual daughter in real life. She did a really, really good job in this. And, her sister ends up coming to the house to try and stay with her, and she comes and brings her family and, her daughter. And her daughter ends up, taking a liking to the doll, and she's kind of like the Andy character. And she's talking to him, and the doll is always kind of disappearing. Chucky doll is always disappearing. Always they can't find it. It's always like, kind of behind them. They don't really understand. They're not really thinking much of it. But, people end up starting to die off in the house, and things start to happen to people. But I don't want to get into too much detail about it. I just really want to say that this really, really worked. And like I said, I really loved that it went to a way more serious tone, and really was like the first two films, especially the first one. It really went back to being a movie that I was really happy with all the directions this thing took. And I think people who are real fan, really love these films, will really be happy with this. There's not one thing about this that bothered me, that I didn't like. The other thing too is, no matter what, make sure you watch after the credits. It's absolutely crucial, and I was so happy that they did what they did after the credits. But overall, though, I actually will give this a rating. To me, I was absolutely happy with it. It's probably my, the first two are my favorite, and then this one. This was really, to me, I really enjoyed it. So I would highly recommend checking this out, but definitely pick up the set, because you get the film in there as well, and all the first 6 films on Blu-ray. Like I said, they all look really good. Now I'm going to show you a little quick video just showing you inside of the set itself. Now here's a close-up look at the case itself. It's really pretty cool, the case. It has a still of, Chucky's look in each of the films. And here's the side. And on the bottom of the case, it has, just the information about, all the films. Now, just so if people are wondering, Seed of Chucky does have the unrated edition, and Curse of Chucky has the unrated edition as well. A quick look at the back. Now a look inside. You see Chucky on the front. And inside, here's how the discs are put in here. They're all on their own disc, and of course you get the digital code behind there. They're all on their own disc, which is pretty cool. Some of these times when you have sets like this, they put like a couple on a disc and things like that. But they're all on their own discs like this. On the back, it talks about the special features for each of the films. And like I said, it's pretty much the same features they were on the original editions, like the original Blu-ray, the original DVDs of Part 2 and 3, the original features from Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. And Curse of Chucky has deleted scenes, a making of, bloopers, and I would definitely recommend checking out the features on Curse. The deleted scenes, too, definitely show you a little bit more backstory on some things. But that's just a quick look inside of the set. So guys, that was a look inside the set and a review of the brand new box set and the brand new film. Look forward to hearing what you guys think of the Curse of Chucky, and I'll see you guys later.